This is the project of GitHub Complex Repository Analysis. For this project, the required libraries are Flask, Request, Torch, and Transformers. Flask is for it is a web app framework, and Request is for sending and getting the responses through API calls. And Torch is mainly used for doing the tensor operations like encoding, decoding, and also it embeds with transformers on doing the summarizing of all the repository content and all those things. And transformer is used for loading the GP2 model, and this GP2 is mainly used here for automatically summarizing over the entire repository. So the first initial step is like we have to enter the GitHub URL. So for this GitHub URL, so that is the first process. And then after entering our URL, just we have to analyze over that. So that is just here for every URL. For every GitHub URL, there is a code is embedded with it that is for differentiating with the other URLs layer. So that is the most complex repo. And if that URL is invalid, then the error will be thrown. And this is how we'll just do the first process of analyzing the URL which the user enters. And the next thing is like the next process is like after entering the URL, we have to get the for that particular username, we have to get the repos. For this, the thing is like in that URL, we are just taking only the username, and in that username, we have to check it isn't valid or not. If so, if it's valid, then we have to create an API. So with this API is used to get the username repos, and then it will give the response in the form of JSON. And if the username or if the request is not fetched correctly properly, if there is due to some network problems or any other problem, if it is there, then an exception will be thrown. Uh, After fetching the response, the next is like we have to summarize the content of the repos. For this only, we are loading the GP2 model. This GP2 model, after loading it, we have to, the first step is like a prompt should be given. The prompt is like this instructions which we're giving to the model to do what does the process have. It has to do. That is the prompt here given for this project is like evaluate the technical complexity of the repository. So if we give the prompt, automatically this GPT model, it will just decode the repository and then it will check it. It will just decode repository and it will check, it will summarize the entire repository with based on the domain complexity, code complexity, and the technical stack which is used in the project. So based on this, it will give an entire summary of the project. After having it, the thing is like uh, uh, for every repos, this is the same format which is followed. And after the thing, finding the complexity, the length of the repos have been taken. So the length of the repos have been taken, and this length is matched with, for example, when we give a number of URLs, then then in that for every repos, it will match the length of the characters of the entire summarized prompt. And if that length of the characters, the repo with most number of characters to be considered as a complex because it is summarized based on the technological stack and all these things it is calculated. So the repos with more number of characters are then finally considered to be the more complex. So that is the entire thing which is given. And also the thing is like justification is also provided why that repo is considered to be more complex based on what is the cause which is making to be more complex. So this is the thing. Okay, the thing is like we just enter the URL, and after entering it, the data is fetched. The repos, the valid usernames repos are being fetched, and with that repos, the initial prompt will be given, and then the GPT model will summarize. They will continue the summarization of the text of the entire repos, and after the length of the character is calculated, and based on the most length of the character is considered to be the most complex repos of that username, of that particular GitHub username. So this is the entire process, and just we'll these are the files of HTML files, and just we'll run the application so that we'll get a more about the concept better. We'll enter the URL, and it will take around 2 to 3 minutes as it is calculating for entire repos, right? So it will take around 2 to 3 minutes for building the complex repo. So we'll just wait. Okay. The final output is here. So like with the required URL, which repo is with that URL, and along with the justification is also the it is finally it is visualized. So this is the entire output of this process, and this is what this entire project talks about. So thank you.